Hello and welcome to the Fairhaven Homes match of the round. We're down at Inverloch today for a top-of-the-table clash between Inverloch+Kongwak and Tooradin Dalmore. The home side being 11-2 and the visitors 13-0, moving along unerringly in the 2022 season. Bailey Allen will join us shortly, but we'll flash back to their previous matchup in round 7 where the game was still hanging in the balance until the final quarter, where Tooradin Dalmore displayed their intrepid game style to win by 37 points. The Adam Oxley goal, of course, at the end of the third quarter really sent them into the break with some confidence. And from there, they consolidated the lead. And as I mentioned, a 13-11, 89 to 7-10, 52 win. Best players for Tooradin Dalmore, Brent McCaffrey, of course, highly respected amongst this Tooradin Dalmore side. Alongside him, Lewis Hill, Dylan Parlberg, the backman, James Trezise, who's a lively forward, Brady Egan, who has the big right boot, and Blake Brewer, who's definitely accustomed to kicking large bags of goals. For Inverloch+Kongwak, Corey Casey, the number 9, he was their best player. Jarvis Pryor, Dylan Clark, Shem Hawking, Lachlan Scott, and Marcus Toussaint were all labelled as the best players. As we can see, both sides here warming up. Conditions seem to be moving along nicely. The rain and wind certainly holding off for the moment. It was threatening before, but looks like the sun is just starting to break through. The blue skies ahead, and this is a large clash for Inverloch+Kongwak. Tooradin, well, they're 2 wins ahead of second place and third place being Inverloch+Kongwak. And last week, in round 13, Tooradin, well, they defeated Kilcunda-Bass by 74 points. It was 106, 15 goals and 16 behind. So it could have been a lot worse for Kilcunda-Bass, who were 4-8, 32. And again, in Tooradin Dalmore's best players, we had Brady Egan, Liam Adams, Julian Suarez, Adam Galea, Brad Lenders, and Stephen Robin. For the goal kickers, well, Julian Suarez, he was the best on with 5 goals. Brady Egan had 4. Stuart Scanlon had 2. And he had 7 the last time that we called this side, who played Phillip Island. And single goals for Brad Butler, Jehi Esler, Matthew Livermore, and Brent McCaffrey. And Inverloch+Kongwak, they were also victorious against Corumbarabina by 42 points last week, 14-11, 95 to 8-5, 53. As Bailey Allen will join us in a moment. But Inverloch+Kongwak, their best players were Lachlan Scott, Corey Casey, Lachlan Johnson, Lewis Rankin, Todd Mackey, Jarvis Pryor, and Tristan Van Driel led the goal kicking with 4 goals. Welcome, Bailey. How are you?
I feel a bit rushed at the moment. I've just come all the way down the South Gippy Highway from Hastings, and I'm a bit late, but luckily we're in here. We're back out here at Inverloch for what should be a great game between the undefeated Tooradin Dalmore Seagulls and Inverloch Sea Eagles.
And the last time we called the Tooradin Dalmore side, of course, against Phillip Island, it was 1v2. Today is 1v3. Phillip Island's still in second position, so they're 11-2 as well. But the last time we called this Tooradin Dalmore side, they were just unextinguishable.
Yeah, exactly right. And it was meant to be game of the year, wasn't it, Dill? And it turned out to be somewhat of the exact opposite. I think they got done by, what was it, around 60 points in the end?
Yep.
Did the doggies down at Tooradin maybe about 6 weeks ago. And yeah, but I'm looking forward to this game. Should be set up to be a much better contest, considering Inverloch are probably one of the, maybe Narnagoon as well, but them and themselves and Narnagoon are the only real sides to actually give Tooradin a challenge so far. And Inverloch were in this game against Tooradin in round 7 not too long ago, until the last quarter where they lost some legs, but it was a pretty close game up until full time. So expecting a good contest today, Dill. Yep,
and alongside Tristan Van Driel, who kicked 4 goals last week, as I mentioned, they did disperse the scoring. Toby Marnie kicked 3. He's playing today. Oscar Toussaint, Thomas Wyatt, both with 2 goals, and William Turner, Michael Eels, and Lachlan Scott with 1 to their name as we're almost underway. Just moving to their positions now. And we can see the crowd next to us. Well, they're certainly boisterous, and wouldn't be surprised if you did hear them after a big goal. And the start that Inverloch+Kongwak need is definitely a 2 to 3 goal start. They're kicking. We'll wait to see if they're against or with the breeze. It did hold off before. Now it's just kicking into play. and Two Saint will face Pever Wright in the ruck. It was an interesting battle last time these two sides played, as I mentioned. A 37-point win for Tooradin Dalmore, but the scoreboard certainly didn't indicate that, Baz.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned before. I think it may have been at quarter time or half time. Inverloch were actually leading, but nonetheless, it's all set at even now. Sea Eagles versus the Seagulls. Can they get on top and maybe give Tooradin their first loss? We'll have to see. That's a nice, strong tackled laid by Sea Eagle there, pushing towards half forward. Just fumbling the ball around. Body's hitting the floor. Now Wright gives off the hands. They're going through the middle here now. The Seagulls, Oxley, the former Magpie, taps it over. That was clever. Now here's the goal kicker in Stewie Scanlon. Oh, don't argue, it's one and gets crunched by another. Back onto the hands. Doesn't really go to any target. It's a turnover, actually, and that's a poor kick. Just rush and set out on the full.
Yep.
And it sure is. So, chaotic start of some sorts to start out.
In fact, they've actually called a throw-in.
Oh, I thought it might have been out of bounds, but just hit the boundary line in the end. So Wright taps it out to in front of him. It goes over the boundary line again. And the Sea Eagle was tackled by James Trezise.
Lively last time these two sides played. Just in front of centre wing and the grandstand where all the Inverloch+Kongwak fans are camped at the moment. Right, out of the ruck. Not to the advantage of any teammate in particular, but the body use of Liam Adams was strong enough to hold it in and almost get it out the back hatch. Another ball up, you can see Adam Oxley just behind play. He's the spare man at the moment. No one really manning him up, and a free kick going the way of Brent McCaffer. Could definitely kick a long way, probably not the whole journey, so he just lays it out in front of any forward that wishes to take it. Spills down, and now a snap towards goal. It's a high up and under mark, unable to be grabbed again, and they just flush it away out of the defence to the Sea Eagles. It'll be on its way back. Ship across to his teammate, who faked one way, in-stepped to full forward. Almost a mark by Trezise, but McCaffer just carved his way through, off to his teammate, who seeds it out into the path of another forward who will have a shot from here.
So this will be Brady Egan. And he was a Stingray in 2013, played with Frankston in the VFL and Rye in the MP NFL. And he looks to kick the first major of the day for Tooradin.
Not the perfect angle for a right footer, but he's a booming kick. He was best on last week, and this is exactly why. Beautiful strike, and Tooradin Dalmore are on the board. One straight, and Inverloch+Kongwak are yet to score a couple minutes in.
And Inverloch+Kongwak, they didn't have the worst start. They got it out to half forward pretty quickly, but as soon as Piver Wright started through the middle and gave the hands off to his teammate, and then they just went right through the centre, they were able to get it in their forward line fairly easily and lock it in there as well, and were able to get multiple looks at goal. So great start for Tooradin Dalmore.
Textbook style. That's what they've been doing all year, in fact, as you can just hear the wind just coming across our microphone. Anyway, back in the ruck. Right, down, but the opponent of Two Saint was there to intervene necessarily, bouncing in front of Scott, who could have faced towards goal. Ship right on his tail. Did what he had to do. Falls into the pack, and we'll have a ball up about 50 out from Inverloch+Kongwak's goal.
And what do you think about Adam Oxley playing in the midfield? I remember the last time we called Tooradin Dalmore, he was playing down back and took a couple kick-outs, but it seems to be around the footy now as there's a throw called, so it'll be going back to Tooradin Dalmore.
Well, he's just camped behind the ball at the moment, but no, he can definitely inflict pain in the midfield. Here he is, Oxley. Didn't get great purchase on the kick, and it fell short. Casey tackled by Scanlon, and now they move it forward. Motoring onto it, Egan again. It just kicked the first, but the defence held up. It was Williams this time who puts it to a one-on-one out the wing to Johnson, who takes the mark. Had Parlberg right on the back of him. It didn't matter, and miscues the kick. Todd Mackey can't quite reach it. Boundary throw in, centre wing.
So Inverloch+Kongwak yet to hit the scoreboard, but they've looked dangerous at times during this first term. Wright taps it to his teammates' advantage. Just trying to scuffle around the ball. They eventually get out. What can Tooradin Dalmore do here? Sweeps onto the ball. Was Stewie Scanlon, who's second in the goal-kicking race for West Gippsland as he...
Unusual for him.
Yeah, he gets a minor for the day, or on that kick. Just got nothing on it. Scraped along the field. And now sits Inverloch+Kongwak 0-0-0 to Tooradin Dalmore's 1-1-7 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. As they just mark across half back, looking to run a slow tempo here, the Sea Eagles. And then they go up to centre wing. No one could take a strong mark at the end of the day, so they'll settle with it going over the boundary line.
Even start. Obviously, Inverloch yet to hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, they haven't been poor, though,
No,
the Sea Eagles. So I like what they've done so far. So in the ruck is Marcus Toussaint. Hits it out right to a Seagull, though. Almost a mark taken inside 50. Umpire calls play on. They decide to move. Egan tackled. Ball just fumbling around. No one can't really pick it up and chuck it on the boot. And umpire eventually calls for the ball back just inside Tooradin Dalmore's 50. And they did look dangerous there for a little bit. Egan almost had an open look at goal, but was taken down strongly by a Sea Eagle defender. Ball just rolling out. They decide to poke it out. Try to get it away from the goals as much as possible for the Sea Eagles. Unlucky though, gets picked up by Lewis Hill. Not the required distance, so they just have to chuck it on the boot eventually. Players running back, and that's a good defensive play by Julian Suarez, who's played around about the 193 games of senior footy. And he's an absolute veteran, that man. He's, what, 34, 35?
5 goals last week. Definitely still has it in him. Boundary throw in. About 30, 35 out from Tooradin Dalmore's goal. They both had a piece of it, did the ruckman, and they'll have to tangle again. Another ball up. But yeah, as you mentioned, Julian Suarez, the 5 goals last week. He's had experience for sure. He's moved from Aberdelphi and now Tooradin since 2012, can play any position on the ground as it just bobbles around for the moment. Oxley feeding it across, maybe a slither of space. He's almost taken high. It rebounds back to Egan, who turns it over, pouncing on the footy park, and we'll have another ball up. No, we won't. Eventually we do.
There was a Seagulls play there that was taken way high, and I reckon they were a bit unlucky not to have a set shot on goal just then.
Toussaint. Another flicked kick out of the ruck. Oxley just hacks it back forward, and now they're playing volleyball. 1, 2, 3. And then to Casey, who lofts the kick forward. Nice spoil from the back. Not to the advantage of anyone. A big collision. They all barrel into each other. It's locked away for the moment. Interesting sequence there. Oxley one way, and then it came back to him and he punched it forward again. 60 out from Tooradin Dalmore's goal. Flying up for it, Toussaint. His brother was alongside him. Couldn't quite find him, but they'll get a free kick anyway. On the wing, providing an offer, Van Driel, their leading goal scorer last week. Here he is, right in the frame. Gets a hand to it. Clean pick up, and then a hand pass out the back, and free kick going Inverloch's way. It will be Tristan Van Driel, centre wing.
So Van Driel, he was the Anzac Day medalist against Daleston early on in the year. Looking to make a smart decision. Decides to go further down the line, edging closer to the 50-metre arc. Big pack there. Tooradin got numbers out the back, and they win this contest. Won't go the required distance, however. Getting ever so close to that boundary line. Almost could have been kicking in danger, I reckon. Just trying to play a bit of tunnel ball here, the Seagulls. But it's been some good pressure from the Sea Eagles. But they might be out here. Now they can move Tooradin Dalmore. With the footy is McCaffer. Bounces along the ground. Dishes it off by hands. Some good pressure here by the Sea Eagles. And that's a good tackle. And that's holding the ball. Great pressure from Inverloch+Kongwak.
Was it a premature whistle, do you think? He did release it.
Yeah.
Little unlucky Michael Eels.
Could argue that point, but that was some great defensive work rate as, the Sharon just bounces the wrong way. And unlucky for Inverloch+Kongwak, it will remain inside Tooradin Dalmore's inside 50 area, but those pressure acts were great there. They really had to work to get the footy out Tooradin Dalmore.
Yeah, the wind just playing its part there for a second. In the ruck again, it's a shallow throw in, almost taking it out of the ruck was Eels. Another scrap out the back door. No one can handle it responsibly. They'll argue over it again. And another ball up.
Yeah, the wind, it's starting to get a bit heavier down here at Inverloch.
High throw in. Right. Just hacking it out of their park to the centre of the ground. It's chopped off. Tooradin defence, Brad Lenders, who just sends it back to the hot spot. They need a flyer. They had a couple, but slipped out of their grasp. Picking it up. Didn't travel through, and Brewer sees it out for another boundary throw in. They need those guys, Blake Brewer, to chip in. Just a 7-point lead.
Well, even Stuart Scanlon's been a bit quiet to start off this game.
Over 10 minutes in on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. As the defence just bolstered here for a moment because the numbers were multiplying. Casey, he dropped it, picking it up, Hewitson. And does it stay in? It's roped in by Toby Marnie. The umpire believes so. He's got offers down the line. Two Saints forming a pack. He'll be the main target here, but it just hangs up in the air. Swirls right. Off the deck by Casey again. And now they can engineer this hand pass to Callie and Oxley in the centre of the ground. As players forward, so he just gives it plenty. Everything he humanly had. Dropped mark again, almost inexcusably. There was no one really there. A nice fake. In the end, O'Donnell out forward. Someone needs to control this footy. Peter Wright's given an opportunity, but he blows it.
It was a bit unlucky not... Well, I guess he was more lucky not to hit the windshield of a car there. Kick went way right, but in terms of conditions, I reckon this is probably about the worst wind we've seen since Daleston against Garfield when Sean Burgoyne was playing his game for the Carlton Draft. Those were some horrendous conditions to kick in when they were kicking towards Bass Strait. So no one can get a clean mark, and once again we'll have another stoppage.
Corey Casey comes off for a spell. He's been lively early.
He's a talented man, is Corey Casey. He's was the runner-up best and fairest in 2018 for Inverloch+Kongwak.
William Turner as well.
So now they can move here, Tooradin. That is a good tackle there. Incorrect disposal every day of the week for Brent McCaffer. So do they want to take a bit of risk, the Sea Eagles? They try to go down the line, but the wind carried the Sharon a bit there and goes out of bounds on the full. So a bit of a brain fade there for the Inverloch+Kongwak player.
Hill.
So Hill kicked it, turned it over almost immediately, but received the chockies back. So now he can compose himself further. Give the ball a root. Down at about right half forward. Goes out of bounds. And Lewis Hill, the guy that kicked that ball before, was a member of the Eastern Rangers in 2021.
Bit of a stalemate for the last couple of minutes. The only goal scorer so far being Brady Egan, and they're just trying to survive in defence. Almost suppressed again, out of defence. To centre half back, it'll be on its way back through the agency of Hill, who lays it out. And that is a comfortable mark in the end by Trezise.
That was an early contender for mark of the day.
Certainly.
Stretched out the body nicely and went towards the flight of ball and was able to take a clean grab. A tough angle here, though, for James Trezise.
Certainly tough, but he does have the tendency to pull a rabbit out of his hat, produce some magic. He is one of their highest goal scorers. The last time we called him, he was lively. He's just stuck that out to the left, and it'll stay there.
Yeah,
they're second behind.
I do remember calling Trice's name a lot the last time we called Tooradin Dill. I think that Phillip Island game, Stuart Scanlon, he had, what, 7 or 8?
Yes, 8.
It's an absolutely outstanding performance.
Williams with O'Donnell on the mark. It was only listed to play in the last couple of days. Again, this is going to sweep out to the boundary line. It stays in play, and snapping it up was Ship, who gave it off to his teammate, who managed to straddle the line successfully. Trezise on the left. Nice clunk from Hill again. It remains active to centre half forward. And to his own detriment, turns it over, and now they're in pursuit. They need some run, and they get it across the wing. A one-on-one front position taken by Tooradin Dalmore. He's played it exceptionally well. Has he? Oh, the umpire says play on. There was a whistle. Not sure what it was. In the meantime, Inverloch+Kongwak enter forward. A contest. It was broken up in the air. Garnham will apply the pressure. Across goal now. Comfortable mark. And Tooradin Dalmore, they've got outlets. Trezise at the wing. Just dismissed his opponents. Took the mark and then kicked short. Now it's sent back in by Butler. It didn't bounce obligingly, but he made it work, did Lewis Hill. And here is another snap forward, but that wind showcasing what it can do again.
And just down here in that previous play, I feel like Inverloch+Kongwak had to run a lot harder there. They were certainly outnumbered with their forwards, and Tooradin Dalmore had most of the defenders and mids down there. So if they're going to get it on top today, really need to run and apply some good pressure down forward 50 as running across the wing. The Sea Eagles. That's Toby Mahoney. And a free kick paid for holding. So we'll go back in the way of Inverloch+Kongwak. 8-0. And a 50-metre penalty paid. So that could have been, I'd be tipping descent. I didn't see anyone run through the protected area. So decides to chip it off in the ends, and it was a good decision as he gives it off to Oscar Toussaint, who's on a somewhat of a tough angle, looks to be about 40 or so out. And he can try score Inverloch+Kongwak's first goal of the day. We're now over 17 minutes in. The goal is most definitely required, but they've defended Tooradin well, have the Sea Eagles. That's not a bad look at all. It just goes off to the left for a minor score. So after 17 minutes of play, Sea Eagles finally hit a score on the board.
Adam Oxley from full back. Now the last couple of times we've called him, he tends to put it to a pack beyond right half back or left half back. It seems like he'll do it again. No, he takes the more central option. The main target, there was no one really in particular. Entering the picture nearly to take the mark was Adams. 1-on-3, they scrap the kick away to Tooradin Dalmore. The numbers head forward. Brewer has space, danced inside, and then shuffled the kick forward out in front of Egan, who has an opponent in the rearview mirror, but he might make it work. And does. Brady Egan has a couple, and Tooradin Dalmore get their seconds. 2-2-14 to one behind.
And that just shows the quality of this side, how quickly they moved down this footy field from all the way from full back. I reckon they got to full forward within 30 seconds, despite some decent defence from the Sea Eagles. They had a pack down here, yet they still had the composure to get off by hands cleanly. And then I think it was a wide open look, who, just trying to remember who it was, I believe it might have been Blake Brewer.
Yeah.
And had an open lane in front of him and was unselfish and gave it right back off to Brady Egan. And that just shows the quality of this Tooradin Dalmore Football Club.
And Tate Cumming in defence, he almost let Egan have the open run. Suarez out of the ruck, bashes it forward. It sways all to the right again, but it bounced back in play to the favour of Butler from the impossible angle. And the last line of defence, Lindsay takes the mark.
So Lindsay showing why he played in that title-winning under-18s West Gippsland interleague side. Ball taps around in the hands a bit before goes over the boundary line. And it's been interesting because Tooradin are finding their way down forward fairly easily, even though the wind seems to be more powerful towards that end of the ground.
Yeah.
So it might wreak a bit of havoc on their play, but you wouldn't think so as an intercept mark taken.
Galea.
It's it's centre wing by Adam Galea. Getting ever so close to the boundary line, and there you go, the wind easily takes that one over. So, quick turnover, back in Inverloch+Kongwak's possession. They decide to centre the footy with no pressure whatsoever. It was a clean mark. Now running across halfback is Thomas Wyatt. They now move towards the wing, but that's a good contest by Brady Egan, who stopped what could have been an excellent run for the Sea Eagles as he tries to put up his hand for the 3 votes, which is probably leading at the moment.
Versatility on display. He's kicked the 2 goals and now he's playing the defensive role. Just on half forward. No real meaningful tap out. Wright will continue to fight. Good combat at ground level. And then Casey was able to work in tandem with Toussaint across the wing. Here is Casey. He was ahead of the footy. Turner will receive the free kick. Turner and Casey both with similar haircut. Now wide open, unguarded. He could have made a lead. Up forward, Toussaint, and he turns it over. Does Turner. Again, they'll begin negotiations through the middle. Scanlon. Inside 50, top of the square, 2-on-1. Broken up in the air by Rankin. Out to the pocket. They'll have to hold up. They don't want to concede again, but they do concede the throw-in. Nearly 22 minutes in to the first quarter.
So going to nearing quarter time now, if you're Inverloch+Kongwak, you're probably a little bit disappointed with this quarter. Their defensive work has been pretty good, but I just feel like moving forward with the footy, they haven't had a lot of numbers leading towards the footy, and you're probably just a little disappointed with their intent.
From the ruck again, Scanlon is loitering. He was nearly given access to the footy, and a free kick the way of Michael Eels. Fullback, hold to play on. So he just runs his measure. It's a flat kick, and it spills out of bounds. Couldn't quite take the mark, Trent Adams.
Yeah, Tooradin and Dalmore have been fairly undisciplined as well. They've given away a lot of free kicks in this quarter, but it hasn't hurt them whatsoever because Inverloch+Kongwak just haven't been able to hit them where it hurts, unfortunately. But nonetheless, we sit at half forward for Tooradin Dalmore, trying to find pivot right on a handball. Somehow gets that footy out. Don't know how. He's a magician. Now, umpire will call my ball centre half forward. Tooradin Dalmore looking to strike again, the Seagulls. McCaffer was lurking. Had a number at the back in Scanlon. Didn't go the required distance. Now McCaffer just chucks it on the boot. Almost the 1 mark taken. Oh, that could be high. Push in the back, and Trezise will have another look at goal on a much easier angle this time, but he's got to take into account this strong wind.
I think it's a ball up.
Was it a ball up?
It is a ball up.
I thought I saw the push in the
but
back
Trezise
signal.
might have another chance.
I could have swore that was pushing the back. He gave out the hand signal, but my mistake. Trezise still ends up with a behind in the end. So I suppose not much change in the end. But
it did look like the umpire gave the push in the back signal. Give you that, Baz. From fullback again. Joining the throng, Toussaint. Slips through the fingers of Ship, but he's persistent. He grabs it with the second effort. Turns it over. Coming out of the rubble. No teammate forward for Inverloch+Kongwak. Apart from Tristan Van Driel, who was by himself, but they just couldn't get the footy to him. Nearly 24 minutes in. Should be a shorter quarter than expected. Plenty of stoppages, but only the 2 majors in the way of Tooradin Dalmore. Both to the name of Brady Egan. Another throw in, centre wing. Pever Wright juggles it to himself and then hacks the kick forward. Plenty of yardage, but he turns it over. Thomas Wyatt in the hole for Inverloch+Kongwak, who puts it back to the same place. And he did well to get a hand to it. Prevented it from being out on the full.
Yeah, they've the way the defense is playing for the Sea Eagles, it's like a team of Jake Levers. They're intercepting everything, but like I said before, this wind is they can't get a clean look at the footy.
They do for a moment until McCaffer entered the scene, left it without the football, and Johnson actually exited with a kick. Mark nearly claimed by Lenders. Dished it off to O'Donnell. His kick didn't get very far. They chain up the handballs. Kelly to Lenders. Brewer amongst the pack. And now Inverloch+Kongwak with a chance. The numbers are forward, and it falls into the hands of Toby Marnie.
That's the best mark we've seen all day by far. He sprinted like an absolute madman for that footy. Was Mahoney, and
played for Port Melbourne in the VFL. Over his tenure at Inverloch+Kongwak, he's kicked 199 goals in 74 games. This for his 200th. And there hasn't been a bigger moment. They need a goal. Almost the quarter-time siren. They trail by 14 points to enter the books with 200 against his name. Stand around him. A moment to remember for Toby Marnie. Well done.
I was getting a little bit worried on that set shot. He got awfully close to the man on the mark, but no, it was a great kick at the end of the day, and Toby Mahoney gets his side up and about. Had 3 last week against Curran Burrabina as well. So, but no, I just loved his run towards that mark, and he knew he had a seagull coming towards him, and he still marked it even with the player under his knee. So it was great courage. As we're now 26.5 minutes.
Excellent milestone.
Yeah, 200 goals as well. That's even better for that man. Pivot right. Won the hit out, but didn't really get out to anyone. Now they've got a bit of momentum behind the Sea Eagles. Ball has a mind of its own. Turns around. Does Van Driel. It's getting further back. Need to push forward here, the Sea Eagles. Tapping it up above. Van Driel, he was out of bounds. So another stoppage. Getting awfully close to the Sea Eagles forward 50.
To the camera as well.
Yeah, it's been a great past couple minutes here for Inverloch+Kongwak. Pivot right. The bigger body in the end smacks it out towards centre wing.
Well, they'll enter the quarter-time break now with some confidence. They just needed a goal, did Inverloch+Kongwak. And beautiful strike by Toby Marnie. Centre wing again. Nearly 27.5 minutes in. It's 2-3 to 1-1 on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. McCaffer can hunt this down. He was taken out of it. O'Donnell escorted over the line. Another boundary throw in.
Pivot right's been another guy he's been terrific in the ruck as well. Usually likes to go down forward, but no, he's been great today so far. He loses that contest, however. So once again draws closer. Didn't have the footy. Umpire ignores it. And a throw.
Here we go.
Yeah, bit of a harsh call there against Blake Euro, I reckon, but nonetheless, we'll go against Tooradin. Dalmore looking for options. Here decides to go back a little bit. He hasn't got much time left before the siren goes. They've entered inside 50. A big lead. Oh, almost a big grab from Toby Mahoney as well, but it was ruled as a push in the back as Ship, who has been a great defender. Mark taken. Gives it off by hands to McCaffer. Now Oxley going down the wing. That's a big kick. Goes almost the length of the field. Dribbles. Could you imagine if it went through? It won't. They'll get back in time, the Sea Eagles. And just like that, coast to coast. And it's back in Tooradin Dalmore's 50. Just like that.
That's the best of probably 60, 65, 70 metres.
Yeah, it was a great kick from Adam Oxley, who's got a bunch of AFL experience under him. But
Well, I stand corrected. This quarter is now 29 minutes and ticking. One last chance for Tooradin Dalmore. They just need to collect the footy. The defence again. O'Donnell in the picture. Can't quite bombard the defence, can Tooradin Dalmore. They're holding up well at the moment. Casey threads it through, And just losing control. Right, he can capitalise. Nearly a mark at the top of the square. Another dispute. Operations continue for Tooradin Dalmore. They need a goal. Egan couldn't kick it off the ground. His teammates almost manufactured a goal. It still springs around, skipping towards the boundary line. And nearly 30 minutes in. 15-7 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. Ball thrown back in. It sails near the boundary line again. A strong tackle laid. Makeshift hand pass. McCaffer putting his body on the line. They were trying to exit, but there's potent seagulls everywhere. Prolonged tackle again. And now they feed it out the back to centre half forward. Does he have the distance? Well, he'll need to. Dylan Parlberg. He'll be the best of 50 metres out. The wind right behind him. The fans watch on to give them a 14-point lead off the boots. It was decent. It's pushed through for a behind. And at quarter time, it's been an arm wrestle. Tooradin Dalmore 2-4-16 and Inverloch+Kongwak a 1-1-7. Definitely an intriguing first quarter. We'll be right back with you for the resumption of the second quarter, brought to you by Fairhaven Homes, our match of the round.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Wonderland, whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging.
1 quarter down, it is Tooradin Dalmore 2-4-16 to Inverloch+Kongwak+Vs+ 1-1-7. Any observations from the first quarter, Bailey Allen?
Yeah, I think it was a fairly even quarter. Tooradin Dalmore definitely had the edge there. But towards the end of that first term, Inverloch+Kongwak+Vs+, they had a bit more fight going inside 50. But, yeah, I think when they intercept the footy with a mark, they just need to have a bit more composure when disposing of the ball, because I've noticed a lot of times it's either gone right back out of bounds for a stoppage or they've turned it over again. So, and the midfields need to make a bit more run towards the forward 50, apply that pressure,
Yep.
so it can stay inside that 50 like Tooradin Dalmore have been doing, and then they'll find a lot more success going down forward the Sea Eagles.
And it'll be interesting to see how they do reply, but as you mentioned, they did have the second half of the first quarter really under their control. Plenty of inside 50s. They were able to kick the goal. It was Toby Marnie's 200th goal. One that meant a lot to him and to them as a team. We'll see if it gives them a bit of a morale boost. Waiting for the siren, nearly ready to go. Start of the second quarter, and for Tooradin Dalmore, they just need their live wires to come to the forefront of the game. The Scanlons of the game. We've seen Egan kick two, and Pever Wright will face Toussaint, who swipes it forward, and immediately a free kick going Inverloch+Kongwak+'s way. Park, inside 50. Couldn't get a mark, but he might have a rover out the back. Toussaint stepping one way. It was a brilliant tackle in the end by Liam Adams. He refused to give up a goal. And it is plays like that that are well commended as they all congregate at the wing. Sharked in the end by Trezise, who flicks it forward, but the wind just carried it back. And another opportunity, a 1v1 down the field. Brewer played it to himself, did what he had to do.
So, not much happening so far in this first minute or so, or almost a Sea Eagles goal, but it was a good tackle by Liam Adams, as Dylan called before. So, boundary throw in. We've had a couple stoppages today, and here's another pivot right in the ruck. Just trying to find any option in Marcus Toussaint. Eventually taps it out to an Inverloch+Kongwak teammate. Tackled was Oscar Toussaint. Ball hits the floor, bodies hit the floor. Who's going to win this contest? Tooradin Dalmore. Celebrate of the candy was Liam Adams. And then just snaps it around, and Tate Cumming, who is on the Giffy Powell list this year, Kicks it across into the centre. Finds Josh Williams and then just going across half back with Todd Mackey. Goes down the line. Got to be careful here, and that's a good mark against the flight of ball from a seagull there. And now they centre it again, this time going with Liam Adams once again. They're going to call play on. Touch footy. Just slowing down here a bit the tempo, and that's a great tackle laid. Holding the ball, Marcus Toussaint was hunted down. Couldn't do anything about it by on a tackle by Blake Brewer. 2v1, and that's a great grab. Great contested mark from Lewis Rankin, who was a part of the 2017 Premiership squad at the Inverloch+Kongwak Footy Club. Of course, they beat Coralin in that 2017 Grand Final by 95 points in the inaugural Premiership for this league. Force out towards the wing, probably should have marked that, was Joe Silmalis. Now Oxley chasing the footy, tries to turn the body inside out, but decides to go backwards to go forwards and dishes it off by foot. Now long high ball, and that's going to be out on the full as the wind carries it over. Trezise couldn't get back in time. Now Wyatt to take the free kick. That's a straight kick. It's a target right in the hands. It goes back with the left. Now that's not looking like a great kick without being able to bounce on the full. Not quite. Will just remain in play before going over.
Positive result in the end, you think, for Inverloch+Kongwak?
Yeah, getting closer towards the 50. That's really what they need at the moment. So, not a bad result at all.
And another throw in. It's taken away by Tooradin Dalmore. Risky kick, and now they can kick away with length, and they do to the wing. Butler turns around, ready to expedite movement, and a prominent fist in the end by Rankin, still alive, linking up by hand. Marnie back for Rankin. Across half-back, it was a perilous kick. It's picked up by Williams, and he managed to evade Egan. Out to the wing, turns it over. McKenna off to Adams, whose kick was smothered, so McCaffer had to improvise and did by hand. Adams again fighting hard, McKenna in the thick of it. It jigged out to Inverloch+Kongwak, who put it to centre half forward. It's touched away. Van Driel driven into the turf by Oxley. An immense tackle. And a ball up about 50 out from goal at left half forward for Inverloch+Kongwak. High throw in. A tap down to the advantage. A snap around the pack. A goal that would have loved to see. And it's missed to the near side. 1-2-8 to 2-4-16. Tooradin Dalmore doubling the score of Inverloch+Kongwak here at Inverloch Recreation Reserve on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
And probably had enough. He had Seagulls closing in, but probably had enough time to give to a different option there. But nonetheless, Oxley will take the kick from full back for Tooradin Dalmore. As we mentioned before, he never really goes towards the centre apart from his previous kick out, I should say. Loves to go left or right. This time he goes to the right of field. Ball tapping around, hot potato. O'Donnell trying to get towards it. And was run over the line by Wyatt, who's averaging just over a goal a game this season. He's had some stints at some other clubs across Victoria, but has been a Sea Eagle most of his career, has Tommy Wyatt. So throw in to St. versus right. McCaffer try to find Suarez. Ball just keeps on getting tapped up. Now they can move Rankin across half back. Not a clean looking kick. Now the Tooradin Seagulls are out. They need a move here. Do they have an open option in Scanlon? Not quite. Rankin played in front, but pushes by Scanlon. Now tackled. They want ball to Sea Eagles fans. Umpire says we'll be having none of that. Scanlon is a bit slow to get up. Had a great opportunity to go in goal, but it was some even better defence by the Sea Eagles, so kudos to them. Now they've got the footy. Snaps around the body. Just off to the right. Not a bad look at goal. So it now sits as 2-5-17. Plays 1-2-8 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. Looks to be Rankin. Trying to find... Oh, sorry, it was actually Wyatt. Kicks it out towards half-back, and that's a great grab taken. Good strong mark. Now an even better kick. Turns it right over, though. Back in the hands of the Seagulls. Could centre it here. Doesn't listen to the advice I give and kicks it towards half-forward right. Nearly took mark of the day. Gives it off by hands. Ball's just tumbling. No clean disposals at the moment. This looks a bit better. Grewer centres the footy to a teammate and then a little stab kick. Now that's Egan, who's already kicked 2 majors today. Gives it off by hands to Grewer, who runs onto it. Not a bad looking kick. Does it have the legs? It does. You bet it does. What a shot by Blake Grewer. Didn't think it had the distance, but just arched over the Seagulls defenders. And that's the 3rd major for the Seagulls today in a brilliant goal clicked by Blake Grewer, who's played a good game.
And he extends the margin to 15, which may not seem like too much, but the way this game is moving along, it is enough to separate them. 2 goals against the breeze for Inverloch+Kongwak now to draw level, or at least even in terms of goals. But they've had 5 more scoring shots, Tooradin, Dalmore. Just a little inaccurate, 3 goals 5. Obviously hard to be accurate in these conditions. As Wright had a favourable throw of ball up. You can see the wind carry it. Scrambled a kick to Egan, who has Trezise open to his left. And he has the lead of Scanlon. He went just ahead of him in the hands of Suarez, who will have a shot about 25 metres out from goal to extend the margin to 21.
That was some poor defence there from Inverloch+Kongwak. You cannot let Suarez get that open.
5 last week. Can play any position on the ground. Been at Tooradin since 2012. And he's missed to the near side. Fans not afraid to give him some advice. And it's a 16-point lead on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. From full back. They'll need to work this out. They need some system in their game. From full back, it's Mackie. Down to half back, and strong mark in the end. Analysing ahead. Little pot kick for Casey, and now he receives it back. Does Eels. Back inside, he turns it over. Park couldn't quite control it. And now a whistle after there was a bit of a scrap. Another throw in. Suarez will have the run. Toussaint was at the back. And now he's able to garner the footy. Just eluded McKenna. Makes its way across. Just edging closer to half forward. Still at the wing. Twisting, turning. Garnham with some fancy footwork. And it's perfectly positioned. He looks to be having a shot, is he? About 45 metres out.
Against the win. That's a bit ambitious, I reckon. But look forward to be proven wrong.
Jamison Sumalis. 50 metres out. Needs to draw the margin within 10. They've had the opportunities. And that'll be another miss.
It's actually not a bad kick. Just didn't have the accuracy.
139 to 3624. Adam Oxley from full-back. Where will he go? Bailey Allen will tell you.
So just assessing his choices. Sure loves going towards that end of the field in this second quarter. No mark taken, but it will roll over the boundary line. After a little scrap there between Scanlon and the Sea Eagle. So still somewhat close to the goals for Inverloch+Kongwak. Toussaint nearly hit out the back of the pack, but whistle blown. It'll be a free kick in the way of the Sea Eagles. So now Oscar Toussaint a similar shot at goal to before, this time on the opposite side of the field to Jamison Samalis, who was on the previous set shot. So Toussaint really needs the accuracy. Probably won't even have the distance in the end. No one marks it though, so still very dangerous here for Tooradin. Dalmore holding the man, and there'll be a free kick. So this should be... It's not... Yeah, it is a free kick. I thought it might have gone somewhere else. As Toby Mahoney can once again have a look on goal and try go for his second of the day. He's probably been one of the Sea Eagles' best, has been lurking up forward when it's gotten down there. A certain goal, 100%. High fives given around, and the Sea Eagles answer back. Now down by 9 points, and they are still very much in this contest against a great, undefeated Tooradin Dalmore side.
They're third for a reason, because they don't give up. Just the 2 losses on the season, one of them being to Tooradin Dalmore, of course.
The other one was the Phillip Island Bulldogs back in round 5, and definitely not bad opponents to lose to.
Toussaint to do it all again in the ruck. And his opponent got the better of him that time, and now ducking back through. Trezise hoping to obstruct the field of play, but in the end Wyatt was too strong for him. And now he'll tickle one out to the wing and beyond. The wind carried it. In fact, it ended up a little more central than I expected. McCaffer, Toussaint with a clunk. Hand passes across. Lodged ball forward. Again, punched out of there. Relative safety is nearby. Hill in the back pockets. Just identified a teammate out wide. Jake O'Donnell now at half back. Happy to play conservatively, and they do. Lenders. Suarez telling him to kick it my way. Offering the signals to the pack, and he does. Suarez is camped right underneath this one. And there he is. Now numbers streaming forward ahead of the footy. He has O'Donnell short. He takes him in the end. And his teammate just entered the scene. Rob took the mark, so O'Donnell moves upfield. He'll be right around this. Trezise as well. There he is. At half forward, he'd need a lethal left boot from here, which he does have. 50 out from goal. A1 positioning for us as well. On the left, he just puts it wide, and it's out on the full. Corey Casey to bring it back in the field of play. He's just perusing the field ahead of him at the moment. Toussaint able to punch it back. Trezise now snaps it up. Adams back in board. Centre half forward, just over the head of Adams again, who had relocated. And Williams to half back.
So Williams gives it to Mackie, who won the 2016 Alberton Football League Premiership with Fish Creek, funnily enough, against Inverloch+Kongwak. So now ball going towards the centre, was nearly ran down there. Had enough composure to find an open teammate, though. That kick was a little sloppy. He'll be tackled instantly as a player lies on the floor. Just trying to see who that is. Looks to be in some sort of trouble. Slow to get up. Play won't stop, however. So McCaffer snaps it. And
Trezise.
It was Trezise that's on the field as Rankin was wide open for the mark and kicks it across. Umpire calls play on. Wyatt, he's had a really good second term. Now they're moving cleanly here. Toussaint. That was probably just one of the sloppy possessions in that section of play, and holding the ball almost instantly. Incorrect disposal, I reckon. Now Oxley, who still tours the defender. Now pushes out towards the wing. Kick was a little bit sloppy due to the wind, and Suarez can't get there in time. So a stoppage to be caught in this wind really getting in the way of players now.
So Trezise is still on the field. Hasn't left, back up on his feet, good to see. The ball up, centre wing, a little closer to Tooradin. Dalmore's forward line, to Saints. Gets the bigger piece of it, and that'll be out in the full. And the Sea Eagles can repel from right half back. They're just collecting the footy at the moment. And as we do wait for it, so a 9-point margin, and it looks like they'll actually throw it in, but what have you noticed this second quarter, Baz?
Well, I mean, I feel like Tooradin Dalmore's ball usage is, its efficiency has dropped down a lot more, but they haven't been paying because Inverloch+Kongwak haven't really looked dangerous at all during the quarter. So, but nonetheless, that was a bit of a sloppy kick there. Didn't go far, just scraped along the grass down here at Inverloch.
Oh.
Big knock there. Umpire called, and
Yeah.
Sea Eagles fans don't seem to be happy, or maybe that was...
I think it was the Tooradin Dalmore players.
Yeah.
Oxley did give Van Driel a bit of his elbow, and Van Driel might have a shot. He's 55 out from goal. He'll have to kick it. Definitely a goal scorer. We know that. And Turner also to his right if he needs. Oxley on the mark. Seems as if he's going to set sail. He needs the journey. He gives it a decent ride. It'll swing back towards goal. In the end, it didn't miss by too much, but it is a minor score, and it's 2-4-16 to 3-6-24. And Oxley, again from full back. Here he goes. He winds up, boots it to the wing. To Saints, just pushing it out of bounds. Over 19 minutes in, an 8-point lead on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. 3 goals for Tooradin Dalmore, 1 for Blake Brewer in this quarter. Previously in the first, it was 2 for Brady Egan. Again, the ball just bobbles around. Casey driven into the turf, wedged between a couple. Again, Turner, he'll try to make his case. And for Inverloch, it's been 2 to the name of Toby Marnie. Kicked his 200th goal in the first quarter. Nearly into time on in the second quarter. Not a lot of distance on that throw in. Trezise lays the tackle. Van Driel escaped with the footy. Chiseled inside ineffectively. Oxley cuts it off. As Suarez out the back. Numbers forming across the wing. He pokes it that way. Trezise, Suarez. They fought over it in the end. Muffled ball forward. It wasn't a kind bounce. Casey slips to ground. Strong tackle by Adams. And it's centre wing. We'll do it all again. An 8-point lead on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
So time ticking down here in this first half. Both sides have been a bit messy with their ball usage in this blaring wind. It's a strong breeze out here in Inverloch, who, of course, near the ocean. So handballed out. Paarlberg was able to keep it in the field of play. Uzanaz from the Seagulls crowd, or Sea Eagles, I should say. Umpire calls for a throw-in.
So what do you say at half-time for either side, really? Do you think Tooradin need to step up their game? Do Inverloch just have to continue pressing? We'll get to it in a moment, Baz, as McCaffer freed up the arms. Adams got the kick away. Almost taken head high. Egan playing for the free kick. Tooradin Dalmore midfielders, and now with agility. Opponents evaporating around Adams. That kick to centre half forward, a 3-on-1. Numbers are with Rankin and the Inverloch+Kongwak team. His kick was smothered, and Adams now is buried into the turf. And Rankin did well to rectify the situation. He'll kick on his left to White at left half back. Has Casey on short. And an open man just down the wing. He went a little longer than that to a 2-on-2. Almost at the back of the pack. Brewer ducked underneath. And now the cavalry arrives for the Sea Eagles, but it's turned over. Oxley to rebound. A pinpoint ball in the end for Egan. Slipping to ground was his teammate. Egan receives it from Brewer and now releases inside 50 to Adams, who centres it. And there is Stuart Scanlon, who will again move it on. Trezise is parked underneath this footy. Here he is, entered it optimistically, left it with the footy, freed up a man, and now McCaffrey in front of goal can have a shot. It was almost pinball.
And Scanlon probably didn't even need to give off his set shot in the end, but that just shows the chemistry and the teamwork in this Tooradin Dalmore side. They were able to unselfishly find open options and then eventually found a wide open Brent McCaffrey, the midfielder, right in front of goal.
Brent McCaffrey, we know his history. First year for Tooradin Dalmore, 77 games and 33 goals with Collingwood over an 8-year span. Moved to Eltham after his footy career and won best and fairest in his first year for the club. He's struggled a bit with the distance, but in the end, it didn't matter. It's a goal for Tooradin Dalmore, and they open up a 14-point lead just over 23 minutes into the second quarter on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
You saw there, Trezise let Park know about it. There's some poor defensive work right there from the Sea Eagles that led to another goal, and they're now down by 14. And as we mentioned before, it doesn't sound like a large margin, but in a low-scoring affair like this, every point counts. So that really hurts Inverloch+Kongwak. Let's see if they can respond quickly, however.
Just going back to the question, what would you say at halftime?
Well, for Tooradin Dalmore, you'd probably just want more efficient use of the footy, but for Inverloch+Kongwak, you'd hope to maybe get the message across to stop being so wasteful with their opportunities. They've had a couple sections where they've just been wide open and haven't been able to capitalise.
That's holding the ball or a throw. Take your pick.
So throw by Brewer. It was tackled by the ruckman in Marcus Toussaint. He played for the Giffey Power back when it was the TAC Cup, not the NAB League. It's marked there on the wing. Wyatt dishes off to a teammate on centre wing. And they decide to centre it a little bit. So some slow-moving footy here from the Sea Eagles. Not a bad form of footy whatsoever. That's a pretty good kick, but Oxley, all he had to do was take a couple of step back, and then cleanly take that one. So now he goes to the wing. Loves going to that location. Pivot right, nearly punched it forward. And another stoppage, 25.5 minutes in. Scoreboard reads 4-6-30 for the Seagulls, I should say, and 2-4-16 for the Sea Eagles. Got a bit of work to do going into this second term. Toussaint almost got a clean look of it. Could have snapped, but was too late.
And just around the ground, we've got some score updates for you. Warrigal Industrials 9-6-60 to Daleston's 2-2-14, and we'll return to it in a moment.
So ball now in favour of the Seagulls. They're looking dangerous, going through the middle. They might be out here. In fact, they are. Looks to move the ball quickly. O'Donnell going against the flight of ball, and that is a missed opportunity to kill for the Seagulls. It's picked off easily by Mackie, who then gave it to his other backman in Rankin, who turned it over. So now Trezise probably could have run at that mark, decided to wait patiently for it. Egan, Trezise sells to Kenny on the right. Good look on goal, goes to the left of face.
Bunyip 3-1-19, Corumburrabina are 6 behinds. So a close game over there at Corumburra's home ground. Cooey-Rupp at 10-5-65, Garfield 3-3-21. They trail it by 44 points. And Coralin 8-11 to Kilcunda's 2-1. They lead it by 46 points. And there is the siren for half-time. Definitely an exciting first half. Well, the wind was excited. It's 4-7-31 to 2-4-16. We will have a halftime show for you in a moment just to review everything that's happened so far. But 1 half down, 1 to come. Inverloch+Kongwak are still in it. Tooradin Dalmore have been a little inaccurate, but at the half, it's Tooradin Dalmore by 15 points on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
Everything that holds me down, no, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community
So, we're back here at Inverloch, where it's Tooradin Dalmore leading 4-7-31 to the Sea Eagles 2-4-16. And it's been a good first half of footy, one of the closer games we've seen in recent times for our match of the day down here at West Gippsland Football League. And Inverloch Kongwak were probably a little bit wasteful with their opportunities, and Tooradin and Dalmore were able to pounce, cause lots of turnovers and get a lot of scoring opportunities. I'm your play-by-play commentator, Bailey Allen, joined by Dylan Beaumont. What do you reckon Inverloch+Kongwak need to improve on in this second half?
Well, just their efficiency with the ball. You mentioned in the second quarter that Tooradin and Dalmore's had dropped off a little bit, but Inverloch, they've probably been along the same wavelength all day. They've hit some targets, but going on your words, they've been a little wasteful, and they just need to be more efficient. They need to access the corridor a little more, because that's when they've thrived, and kicking it to the pack at the wing just hasn't worked for them so far, Baz.
Yeah, I feel like that they need a bit more dare to their brand of footy. They need to cut inside the middle a bit more, maybe stop going down the line, try run it through the centre, because that's when the really fast plays happen. Sure, you have the risk of getting that turnover, and then they're using the exact same tactic through the middle against you. But when it's been a bit stale, your brand of footy, through a first half, I feel like that's when you really need to start taking risks. As the field, both teams have now come back on, as we're ready for a big second half of footy.
Where would you rather be? Saturday afternoon down at Inverloch. Match of the round. Second half nearly underway. Bailey Allen to get you underway.
So it was a good ruck contest there. Piver Wright wasn't tall enough in the end. Tackle to the ground was Oscar Toussaint. Players crowding around the ball like a bunch of seagulls, pun intended. A stoppage, early stoppage, 30 seconds in. Piver Wright didn't even need a tap, just ball came right back down to him. Turns it over though, and here's Mackie, who played pretty good down in the back pockets during that second quarter. Parlberg was looming, but couldn't get to the Sharon in time and rolls out of bounds. Try to apply pressure, but just wasn't good enough to get the mark at the end of the day. So another ball, or another throw up, or throw in. Wright taps it out. Here's Grewer. Kicked a goal in that second quarter. Almost a great grab taken, but Suarez ended up with it. And now Scanlon. After a chaotic course of play, Stuart Scanlon can look for his first goal in the third quarter. That's a sentence you don't say too often. He's second in the West+Gippsland Football League goal kickers table. We'll see if he can have a big second half and perhaps overtake for first. He needs two. That's a good-looking kick. It came back. It has. Stewie Scanlon take a bow. The wind brings it back and curves like a boomerang. Nicely done, Stewie Scanlon. And if I check my notes here, I believe that now only leaves him with one goal from taking first place from Dermot Yorney of Narnagoon. Of course, the results depend on how he plays today, but Stuart Scanlon gets his first major of the day deal.
Yeah, he had 26 goals in his previous 5 games before today. That's over 5 a game. So to say that that's his first of the day is quite astounding, and anomaly to the rest of it. And a 21-point lead has opened up. Totally workwear, Pakenham scoreboard. Back in the middle. It's now Inverloch's turn to reply. Toussaint just craning forward to pick up the ball. Adams, another knock forward by Toussaint. Now they can consign it to a teammate in their forward 50, but it's just hurled out to the wing. A dropped mark, but it won't matter in the end for Lenders. He gave some protection to his teammate in Grewer, who just hoists it forward. A one-on-one. Suarez with the front position in a battle with his opponent, who probably got the better of him in the end. And a ball up at right half forward, about 50 out from Tooradin Dalmore's goal. Toussaint was not the ruckman that time. O'Donnell, Parlberg, McCaffer. Standing start, he blasts it to full forward. Strong spoil from, in the end, Rankin, and it didn't matter because the goal will be kicked. Certainly wasn't the cleanest passage of play, but similar to the last time these two sides played, They're out to a quick start in one of the quarters. It's a 27-point lead for Tooradin Dalmore now.
There you go, Jimmy Trezise again. Took a big hit in that second quarter. Strikes right back and kicks a goal. Was it his... Who came down here before? Was it his mum?
Yes.
Just
checking up on him.
Yeah, was checking up on him with us. And, yeah, after scoring that goal, you'd seem to think he's all good to go. So back in to the centre circle we go.
Very much so. Back in business they are now, Tooradin Dalmore.
Yeah, Inverloch+Kongwak have just a really poor start to the quarter, I reckon. And the defence has been a little subpar. See if they can give any sort of response to Saint. He's been great in the ruck today. Unfortunately, the Tooradin player wanted it more. Sirens blaring. Not sure who that might be. Might be the Ambos.
It's not Trezise.
Toussaint kicks it out into space. Oh, it was actually a free kick, my mistake. And it'll be going back to Tooradin. So it'll be Stephen Robb to take the free kick. This will not be a set shot, obviously. Obviously, out of anyone's distance, really. Maybe plug a locket of Malcolm Blight, but that's about it. So, punched out forward. They're just trying desperately to get it out. Almost the mark taken there. That would have been one of the best marks we've seen all year, I reckon. Turned around. Now McCaffer re-enters inside 50. That's a booming kick. Is that going to go? Oh my God, it has! From about 60 or so out. McCaffer has slapped that onto the right and sent it right home. Booked a ticket for the Sharon and sent it on a flight. Brent McCaffer, that's his second of the day. And Tooradin are all guns blazing now.
3 goals in 5 minutes. And now the game is almost out of reach for Inverloch+Kongwak. Just the 2 goals against the name.
It's an early call, but
they just need a goal badly, but they've only kicked the 2 in 2 quarters. I'd say another 1 or 2 might put it out of reach, Baz.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that call considering how they've been playing today. But I feel like 6 minutes into the third quarter is probably a bit too early for me just yet.
Back in the middle. Handling it right. Out of the centre. No one can really break away. Now they do. Oxley standing in the way of Inverloch, just precluding them from threatening upfield, but they'll have a chance. And now Ethan Park is the avenue in. Numbers out wide with Turner, but he goes inside 50. Who was viable? Well, the free kick's being given. Toby Marnie, who's kicked their 2 goals today. They need to see him back up on his feet, but right now he's just wincing in pain, holding his neck, it looks like.
Well, he certainly fell a fair way down.
And taking the kick will be his teammates as Toby Marnie is just making his way off. Nope, it'll be Lachlan Johnson. 55 out from goal. Waiting for the green light. And now he's told to go, Lachlan Johnson. Deep engagement. A one-on-one, and now coming from all angles. But Oxley was the insurance out the back for the Seagulls. Short inside for Hill, and again across to Robb.
And if Marnie's to be out for the rest of the game, that's a really big blow for Inverloch. He's been pretty much the only dangerous forward when they're going inside 50 for the Sea Eagles.
To a band at the wing, Trezise. Sleight of hand, Hill again. Chipping ball over the top for Adams, who can motor onto it. Snaps it around the body. Just dribbling along the ground, and Scanlon quite content to see it over the line. 33-point margin, 8 minutes in. 3 goals in the quarter for Tooradin Dalmore, and Inverloch+Kongwak are yet to score. On your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard, 1 to McCaffer, 1 to Trezise, and 1 to Scanlon. So all the prominent names for the Seagulls involved. Included in the play was Rankin. who had some leverage on the hand pass, and Turner's kick fortuitously fell into the hands of Lachlan Scott. Out to the wing, Turner. So some methodical ball movement. Sumalis at the wing. Van Driel, maybe just nudged out of it by Garner, his teammates, and just constrained in the tackle. Inverloch+Kongwak, and Adam Galea earns the free kick to Oxley at half-back, who has room to manoeuvre. Indulges in a bounce on an extended stroll out to the wing. A one-on-one gave his teammate Rob some leadway, and he clutches the mark, bounces back up on his feet, assesses what's ahead. They're up by 33, but they're looking to pack on the pain at the moment. Probing ball, and almost a towering effort. Trezise at ground level was waiting. The crumbs almost fell for Scanlon, but he's given away a free kick. And it's the Sea Eagles' turn from the back line.
So intercepted. Poor choice. And now he'll go back. And it's Liam Adams to go back. I believe last week was his 5th year senior game, Mr. Adams. So congratulations to him. Number 51 today. Slide angle, about 47 out. Sprays it way left. Punched over the line for a behind. So I thought he probably could have given off there, Liam Adams, considering the wind and whether he had the distance or not. But still ended up in a score at the end of the day. So kicks it out to Casey. And he just slows down, assesses. Then he finds Mackie. Now they're moving a bit quicker here, the Sea Eagles. Another good mark taken, this time coming from a teammate, Sea Eagles. And there you go, far too easy for Cooper Ship. He intercepted it quite well, read the footy great. It's already been 11 minutes through this third quarter. That's another good mark taken. Stood in front, brought it to the ground. Another drop kick. That's a good lead there by Suarez. A great run. And he leaps out at the ball. Really tough angle.
With authority too, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that's just the veteran experience he brings. Does Suarez. So he's about, you'd say 40 outs. Pretty tough angle here. He's going to have to do his absolute best. That's not a bad look, though. But he'll go through as a behind. And the scoreboard now reads 7-9-51 to 2-4-16 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
McCaffer just back off the interchange bench. They all swarm in one direction, and that's where it's heading. Over the head of Sumalis, out to Turner, back into the hands of Eels. You can just speculate by hand, but he turned it over. Trezise pounced on. Ball up. But they've certainly stamped their authority. Suarez did just then, but this quarter, Inverloch+Kongwak yet to score, and 3 goals in the first 5 minutes for the Seagulls.
Just all the sting's been taken out of the game, hasn't it?
Deafening silence from the crowd.
Yeah, haven't had much to say at all throughout the entire game. It's just been pretty sloppy sort of day for the Inverloch+Kongwak Sea Eagles.
And the formidable opponent, of course, Tooradin Dalmore. But that's what good sides do, Baz. They just make their opponents look like a subpar team. And we know that Inverloch+Kongwak definitely amongst the best in the mix. A CAFA and a free kick against Trezise. And they'll swing it across the back line. Now to half back. They're moving across the wing. As he just surveys Rankin over the top to the run of Casey, who speeds. McKenna just dropped the mark and then had it taped to him. collected it again, turned it over. Blind hand pass works. Into the field of play. Garnham. Some fancy footwork, and now on the non-customary left, put it up for Van Driel. Was unable to take the mark. The defence holds up again. And now they're disturbed. We'll have a ball up about 45 out from goal for Inverloch.
Where has that been all day? The forward 50 pressure was great. They moved inside towards goals terrifically.
Two Saints. McCaffer. Brawny forwards everywhere for Inverloch+Kongwak. Two Saints hand pass was slightly miscued. And almost a mark taken. Bashed into the centre of the ground. The numbers at ground level are with Inverloch+Kongwak. 3v2, but Trezise will pressure and did. And now he's driven into the ground. And we'll have, is it a ball up? It's a free kick going the way of Inverloch+Kongwak. Maybe a little unlucky for Trezise, who's still making his play. Hangs up in the air and now falls to the back of the pack. McKenna right on his tail. And again, a strong tackle, engulfed by it was Lachlan Scott. And the Tooradin Dalmore players wondering why it wasn't given. Nice body use in the ruck. Into the ground, Lenders. They're 25 out from Inverloch+Kongwak's goal, and they desperately need one now. Just under 15 minutes. It's a 35-point lead on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. McCaffer managed to keep it in right on the barrier on the left. Puts it out on the full. It'll be on its way back. And Wyatt will reposition. Turner is on short. But he takes it inside, extending his vision. And, well, the defence, they just can show a clean pair of heels out of there. And we'll have a ball up or a throw in. A centre wing is still a 35-point lead.
So Inverloch looked dangerous there momentarily, but just struggled to keep it in. So boundary throw in for centre wing, pivot right, got the hit out. Paulberg beat Two Saints, and Two Saints couldn't land a clean tackle, but there'll still be a stoppage. So not too bad of a result in the end. And we're just seeing today why this Tooradin Dalmore defence has only allowed 400 or so points in over 3 months of footy. Their defence just so good as grew up. Kick across the body, that was clever. Finds Scanlon, who just chips it along. Tried to find Trezise, I believe, but instead found his opposition in Thomas Wyatt. And then we're now near the forward pocket of Tooradin Dalmore's forward line.
And they did this against Phillip Island as well. They were both unbeaten at that stage, and Tooradin just outclassed them, defeating them by about 60 points. A lot of altitude in the throw-in. It makes its way closer to the boundary line. McCaffer tried to impose himself, gave it to Paulberg, who floats one forward, and Rankin. A nice contested mark, but he's dropped it.
It's out of bounds.
We'll have a throw in. Just waiting for the final verdict. 35 points. Tooradin Dalmore lead this by. And again, they can kick another one here and put the game beyond doubt. Casey from the back line. Should be a free kick down the field, or is it coming back? No, McKenna will kick it back to the player who will take the free kick in Park. Left back pocket. A lot of movement from Tooradin Dalmore, but it's quite stagnant for Inverloch+Kongwak up the field. And now they'll progress past this barricade that has just shelled them in. No, instead they'll regress back to Turner. Van Driel's on the outer side. He can take it through. Oh, instead he puts it right into the danger zone, and we'll have another ball up. 25 out from goal, but it's just costly turnovers and futile kicks like that that can cause goals from the opposition. And another stoppage. Trezise this time out of the ruck. He'll get his own ball, but it's extracted by the defence. Ship just over his head. Necessary intervention again from the defence. McCapper, Oxley. Hand pass right into the hands of the Sea Eagles, who can just make their way across the field slowly. But again, they turn it over. Egan does that as well. So sloppy football at the moment for both sides. 19.5 minutes in. Still that 35-point margin. Turner has it on the outer side at centre wing. Scanning ahead, but he takes it all the way back, and they'll elect to switch it. Mackie wasn't perfectly positioned. It hits the head of Rankin and bounces right to Paarlberg, who makes it work. Trezise had to adapt to the situation. Suarez is parked underneath. And a free kick pinned out for the Sea Eagles, who will have to do it all again. We'll see if there's some system to their approach this time as Rankin walks across the back line and kicks it into the middle.
So centering kick. Inverloch just trying to rage through the contest. Free kick paid. McCaffer is furious. So now goes in the wing towards Turner. And like on many occasions today, it's actually Casey, my mistake. He plays on. Oh, he's almost wrapped up there. But his agility was too good. Now it's Samilis. He marks it centre wing. Just moving the footy really slow here. The Sea Eagles hasn't worked much for them today, but here's another inside 50 entry. Garnham almost got it out, but another turnover. And that will, I think the call was out of bounds on the full. And it is. So now Lachlan Scott. Goes Casey. The runner-up 2018 best and fairest for this club. He's also a bartender. Bet you didn't know that. So the bartender mixes up a bit of a cocktail. Oh, almost a great grab taken there by a Sea Eagle. But the Seagulls were there. But turnover. Snaps it. There we go. Sea Eagles footy. And that is Mitch Hewitson.
We'll see if that can galvanise them, Baz.
Yeah, well, he looks like a sort of young fella, and there was a lot of beeps, a lot of cheers. May have been his first goal in senior footy. But Mitch Hewitson, is that what puts the fire in the Sea Eagles' belly? They need a bit more hunger going into this last quarter, and of course the rest of this third term. It is still in reach. But time is ticking.
This is his first year back at Inverloch. He moved to Leongatha last year for 1 year, but his second stint at Inverloch. We'll see what they can produce now. And here they go. Turn out of the middle. Slaps the kick forward. An unkind bounce, but it was adventitious for Toussaint, who dribbles it. And misses.
And I know he missed that. He missed a lot. And they need scores right now, but that's actually a win. Well, maybe other than a goal. Yes, that's actually a win because Adam Oxley would have taken that kick in, and I can tell you right now, it would have just been the exact same as all the other possessions. So that's actually a win for the Sea Eagles.
Toussaint again with body use. Gets the little kick out. Casey ducking under, weaving through traffic, dispossessed, taken off him. You can just feel the intensity rise here at Inverloch as Casey is given the free kick. And Jordan Kelly with an undisciplined act. But now the margin can be reduced to 23. Corey Casey to bring them back. Not a harsh angle. He was the runner-up best and fairest in 2018. He's played for Inverloch since 2008 with 1 year at Wu Yang in between. And now they'll just
That was a
talk
goal.
between each other. We were waiting. It's a minor score. All the suspense in the world, Baz. But it's not the result that they were looking for. Oxley from full back. 23 and a half minutes in, they all fly, crashing down. Hand pass. Suarez able to clunk it. Turns it over. Sumalis. And again, it's 50 metres, is it?
Must be.
So they'll have a chance here. And a sudden shift. Subsequently, a shot at goal here.
The entire attitude and atmosphere has changed.
It has. You'd think it was a 1-point game, but right now it's a 28-point game. A fair ride. Van Driel at the back. Unable to rake it in. Back to the wing. Trezise was the only seagull. He did make a contest, and he also laid a strong tackle, and he will be rewarded. Well deserved. James Trezise, body on the line stuff.
And Trezise just has about the 3 votes. Oh, well, commentators curious, my bad. Toussaint off by hands. Fast-moving footy. No one had the footy in the ends. Wanted a free kick. Now handball at the Van Driel. It was turned over, though, and goes over the boundary line. And my goodness, it's a big margin. But I am loving the atmosphere out here. As Adam Galea caused the stoppage. Toussaint in the ruck. Going at Suarez. Forward 50 for the Sea Eagles, turns over. Galea gets his second touch of the footy in about 15 seconds. Goes to the boundary line, and they'll call it back for a boundary throw-in. Some excellent quality of football we've seen in the past couple minutes. Don't mind if I do.
Well, now they've just injected some life into the game.
Yeah, there's a lot more passion, a lot more energy from the Sea Eagles squad. I'm loving it. So, boundary throw in, pivot right, got the hit out, almost punched his man in the face. That's a big hard tackle taken by Adams. And Casey wants to go on for a run, but umpire says my ball. Don't think about going too far, mate. So, right, couldn't win that one. Another stoppage, trying to argue his case for pushing the back was Jamison Similis. So, right. Wins against Eels. This is what Tooradin need. Just needed to get a little bit further away. Now going on a run is Johnny Duff. Sends it. He's Scanlon. He's got a paddock in front of him. What great defense, though. The energy down here at Inverloch. And it just quiets down for a little bit. Scanlon nearly had the world in the palm of his hands.
If they can convert before 3/4 time, you just feel they'll lift here in the last quarter. McCaffer.
That is just what they can't do, though. Silly kicks that cause turnovers. McCaffer marks that one easily. Takes his full amount of time and sends a high one. Suarez nearly grabs that one under a Seagull's leg. There should be a stoppage.
Oh, wow.
Holding the ball. Wow, that is a stiff call from the umpire. His argument was he fell on top of it. And I guess that, you could argue that. But nonetheless, Casey kicks it out to the wing. Parlberg, or there was actually Ship, in fact, stood strong in defence. And now Tooradin starting to get up and about again.
Over 27 minutes into this 3rd quarter. It's a 28-point ball game, but these last 7 or 8 minutes, I've been quite infatuated with it.
Oh, yeah, it's been entertaining.
It's been majority Inverloch, Tooradin and Dalmore. They have responded with a few entries, but they haven't been able to kick a goal. So maybe they haven't fully shut the door yet, Baz. Another tackle and another ball up. But now the message at 3/4 time is interesting. As the siren does sound and the huddles will begin. And the chatter and talk amongst the Inverloch+Kongwak side will be that they have hope. And it's set up for a finish. Similar to last night, it is a 28-point ball game at 3/4 time. Inverloch+Kongwak, they're still fighting hard. They're very gallant and they're afraid to give up. We'll take a quick break, but prepare yourselves for this last. It's 3-5-23 for 7-9-51 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh yeah, it's all around me.
Winterland whisper in my ear, make my troubles all disappear.
This is a story of a community that likes to work hard, digging, fixing, building, keeping people safe, or just lending a hand. A community that all have one place to come together, where they're spoilt for choice and good service is everything. And although there are stores all over Australia, the owners are as local as they come. Totally Workwear, clothing your hard-working community.
I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm going all the way up. Ah, I'm letting go in my heart. Ah, of everything that holds me down. No, no. And it's feeling like I'm in the roof. I can feel the love. Oh
Well, it may not seem like it, but it is a 28-point margin here at Inverloch. The intensity that was just shown in that last 8, 9, 10-minute passage of play from the Inverloch+Kongwak side was definitely not seen today, and they did take a major step up. Bailey Allen alongside me, 28 points. You feel as if Tooradin and Dalmore were almost hanging on for that last little play there.
Yeah, they sort of levelled it back out a little bit, did the Seagulls, going into three-quarter time. But if Inverloch+Kongwak are able to bring their absolute best, which was that 5 to 10 minute period there in that third quarter, they are definitely a chance. I'm still going to go the safe option and back Tooradin and Dalmore just because of the quality of their side, but they are a real chance, the Sea Eagles.
Now, how's this? The Tooradin and Dalmore players are already in their positions. Inverloch+Kongwak are just leaving their huddle. And we'll have to put the magnifying glass on Toby Marnie, who's back on the field, or at least will be. If he's starting on the bench, he will be back on the field. It looked as if he was ready to play.
Yeah, I did see him come off the bench to go inside the huddle, but yeah, I'm not sure if he will take play, but I assume so.
Precariously we'll say yes, but he may be out for the day. James Trezise also, since that hit in the second quarter, has been fruitful. He's kicked the one goal, but he's had plenty of score involvements. And a 28-point margin their side holds. Siren will sound in a moment to indicate the beginning of the last quarter. 28 points. It's been a low-scoring affair all day, but Inverloch+Kongwak are ready for the challenge, or are they? We'll find out now. Johnson just missed the ball, and it gave Wright the chance to nudge it forward. And straight away, out of the gates, they're on the scoreboard. Not the start the Sea Eagles would like to see, but Liam Adams kicks his first of the day, and his teammates are eager to go and celebrate with him.
Well, that took about maybe 15 seconds. That is remarkable. You'd think you'd come out with all the motivation and all the hunger in the world after that performance in the third quarter, and there you go, just let one slip right away from the Seagull and Liam Adams. So
it's what quality sides do, Baz.
Yeah, well, they've been the benchmark all year, have Tooradin, by far the premiership favourites this year. So ball taps out, going towards the wing. They're still playing a little bit of basketball here. Over the back, handball from Joe Samalis. Now Oxley collects it as it was turned over, and Trezise, who has just about been best on ground all day, takes a fresh mark. Then he finds Piverite, who's been loud in the ruck today. Plenty of hit-outs to his name, the former Richmond team mate. And then there goes Suarez. He's been another great player, taking a couple of contested marks. Set shots as well, inside 50. More danger looming. Brewer kicks it the opposite end. And a mark taken there from a Sea Eagle.
Johnson.
It was Johnson, Lockie Johnson. And they kick it. No one even touched the footy there. Now McKenna can do a U-turn. Turn back, try to find his teammate, but couldn't get a clean mark. Casey out to centre wing. This could be a really big opportunity. Van Drill drills it into the chest of a teammate. And more slow footy. Almost turned it over. Casey could have got it if he ran a bit harder. McKenna ended up with it instead. Now Kelly turns it over. So they'll re-enter, and that is wasteful, wasteful, wasteful. I cannot believe that.
Just not the option they would have liked. McCaffer at half-back. And now the margin at 34. Inverloch+Kongwak just have to hold some belief and attack the scoreboard as McCaffer's kick is a little indiscriminate and it's turned over. Park takes the mark and then sends it right to the teeth of goal. It almost bounced through, hits the woodwork on the way past. And Oxley. Hurried kick to the wing. Flying through, teammates collided into each other, allowed Garnham some room. Field's quite capacious ahead of him. That kick probably out in the full. No! Nice aerial presence in the end. And they'll have a shot at goal. Tate coming. Difficult angle.
Playing with the Gippy Power for 2022. Only the 3 games of senior footy this year. What a moment for this man.
Question is, does he have a sense of occasion on the left? He hooks it inside. That's a professional finish. And Tate Cumming returns it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard shot on goal. Set shot, didn't have much room. And, yeah, really tough angle. Slots it. Nicely done from Tate Cumming. It's had 27 points the difference.
Well, now they've outscored them in the last quarter.
Yeah.
4.5 minutes has gone by in this last, and it's 27 points. So it's still within reach. They just need another goal on the board as soon as possible, really, Baz.
Just need some really fast, intense footy like we saw down the opposite end just before. Pivot right, put his man on the floor. Ball just getting tapped by both Seagulls and Sea Eagles alike. No clean disposal taken. Pivot right, spins. That's unlikely from the big man, but on this occasion he did. Suarez on the chase for it. He gets pushed over the boundary line by Eels. And now probably about 5 metres or so away.
Just looks like the tag's gone to McCaffer.
Well, McCaffer's been big all day, so he's found a lot of the footy. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a tag right in to Saints in the ruck. It was luckily Mackie got onto it. Oh, what a tackle! That is holding the ball. O'Donnell, the former vice captain. He's only played 2 games this year against Dalston and Nana Goon, and what a tackle! Now Oxley. That is a shank of a kick. That is anticlimactic if I've ever seen it.
Well, the crowd not afraid to give him a little bit of lip. And from the back pocket, Eels. Using Rankin as a reference. And then with his footwork, almost turned it over. And now look at the ramifications of this. If they can just get boot to ball, they do. But it's another opportunity gone begging for Tooradin Dalmore, and they can't quite flush them away.
So Lewis Hill was the one who missed that one.
Yep.
And
Mackie from full back again turns it over. Here's Hill to make amends. Suarez has missed as well. The lot. So
he missed it all. My goodness.
This is most unusual. We've had 3 opportunities right in front of goal. 2 have missed, 1 out, or in fact 2 out in the full, 1 has missed. Oxley remains dangerous. Here is McCaffer. Spontaneously around his body. Hill, Trezise, right on the back of him was Turner, and another kick out in the full.
Really choppy footy at the moment as Turner just gets stuck in a Trezise a bit. I wouldn't be doing that personally when you're down by 28 and Trezise has been the best player on field, but that's just my opinion. So they kick it out, centre wing. Will a mark be taken on this occasion? No, Trezise gives it off by hands. And then over the line they go. It was Brad Lenders who took it over in that occasion. Time is not on their side, the Sea Eagles. Of course, we saw St Kilda and come back from a really big margin against the Western Bulldogs last night. Didn't get the win in the end. Could we see something similar today? So dropped footy. Could have been incorrect disposal, but umpire calls play on. Lenders dropped it. You've got a couple players. It was Van Drill who put his opponent into the floor. It was Palberg at the bottom of that pack. And Toussaint versus Wright. It's been a pretty good contest today. Wright has the strength, but Toussaint has the height. So another stoppage. Remains on the wing. And whistle blown. And Toussaint will end up with it.
Need a goal here.
They do. So goes with that left foot. Almost a mark taken at half forward. Desperately need anything here, the Sea Eagles, if they have any hope of winning today. Out by hands. Here's Turner. Sloppy. Now they can go out here, the Sea Eagles. But what a tackle! What a tackle! The pressure from Oscar Toussaint. Laid his man into the ground. And now Toussaint, I think he thinks he's got the distance here. It's gonna need a fair kick at the footy here. But can you imagine if it went through? The things it would do for this side, it won't. Won't have the legs. But still in play, however. There's a lot of white jumpers around this, Sharon. It goes out of bounds. And that's after the Toussaint miss on the set shot. No score. It's 8-10, 58 plays, 4-6, 30.
Better result.
Tooradin Dalmore leading this one by 28. If you're just joining us, another savage tackle. Whistle blown. My ball, says the umpire. Casey, who hasn't been too bad this game, is just lurking near that box, and once again another stoppage. This has gone a little bit stale here in this last minute. I'm sure we're in for a lot more action. Ball up, right contest, taps out, goes to the left and high. So another chance for Inverloch+Kongwak. Will that be 50 metres? That will be. So that is now Tooradin Dalmore's third 50-metre penalty of the game, and Van Drill can dribble it through. So
they're coming.
It's now 22 points for the Sea Eagles after a costly 50-metre penalty. He was shoved to the ground, Van Drill, after the high free kick, and the undisciplined play from the Tooradin Dalmore Seagulls continues, and it might just get them in trouble. 11 and a half minutes through this last term, and it's a 22-point lead to Tooradin Dalmore.
Still in it. They're still hanging around in the balance. Are Inverloch+Kongwak in front of their home ground and their home fans. Toussaint and Wright again. And out of the middle, Toussaint, right to his brother, gets it back. 2-on-2. And then the forward hand pass. They've got some room. Scott delivers inside 50. And Trezise stands tall. Wasn't Trezise, in fact. It's a half back. And again, that kick is a stray out of bounds.
You feel that they're just getting a little bit flustered now, the Seagulls, with a potential defeat looming, starting to creep up on them a little bit. Dill?
Still 4 goals to kick, but 12 and a half minutes in. There will be time on, plenty of time for them, but it will dissolve as opponents did around Park. Gets some distance on it. It's in a familiar spot for Inverloch+Kongwak in this final quarter. Need a spark.
Well, there is a flare there, you feel.
There is. Ball thrown back in. Body use, A1. The finishing wasn't quite. Oxley pacing onto it. And now accelerating forward on the wing. Tooradin Dalmore, they don't have the numbers. They kick it to vacant space. And you'd think it'd be Inverloch's ball, whether it goes out or not. Rankin has to remain composed. And he was. Turner Needs some assistance from his teammate. He gets it. And then a nice pirouette. And back through the middle of the ground in the corridor. Scanlon to chop it off. Short ball. McCaffer, who can just craft it back to Oxley. And they're happy to play the waiting, patient game. Again, to the wing. Adams. McCaffer making a lead. Here he is. Have to man up if you're the Sea Eagles. The experience of McCaffer, he'll know what to do. He looks for an option inside 50. Trezise at the front. Had his name written all over it. And now he's up slowly on his feet. Will he have the distance? He kicked one out on the full from here in the second quarter. Looks as if he'll have a shot. James Trezise. Recommitted this year for good reasoning. Probably one of their best players. And Scanlon takes the mark, holds it up to the crowd just to let them know that they can put a dagger into their name. Stuart Scanlon, the one goal today. One of Nari Warren's favourite sons, transferred to Tooradin. You wouldn't question why. It's been such a prolific name all year for them. 28 goals in his last 6 games now. And a 28-point margin reopens.
Well, now I think he's tied first place. Of course, that
Barring the
results of Nana Goon and Dermot Yorney, I believe now he is tied for first. So
28 points. It's 9-10 to 5-6 on the Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard. Of course, the new store has just opened. 15 minutes and counting. McCaffer piercing his way through, but he's disarmed and it's holding the ball. Park, who's been attached to him in this last quarter, dispatches it out wide. Mark not quite taken, and in the end, nothing was attained for the Sea Eagles. And the Seagulls work it across the wing. McKenna has McCaffer nearby. Instead, goes to the wing. Numbers with the Sea Eagles. Turner spinning around. And just getting away seamless. But once again, Hill puts a nip in the bud. And at half back, it'll be the Seagulls ball. Trezise is on the wing. And well done to punch it out of bounds from Lewis Rankin.
So you just get the overall feeling that this one might be done now. Not a lot of time left for the Sea Eagles, and the Seagulls should remain undefeated. They've been so good, this club, this year. The famous white, red and green. And there's some cries from the crowd as it gets a bit chippy between McCaffer and Turner, who's been a bit chirpy all day. Had some conversations with Trezise earlier on before. So collected by Scanlon, who may have just kicked the game winner. Now they collect it. Crum right, leads out forward in front of Eels. McCaffer was screaming for it, but Wright wants to go inside 50, looking for Scanlon. Whistle blown. There'll be a free kick. Scanlon, he's going to go McCaffer. Oh, didn't go 15. Should have gone to McCaffer, but O'Donnell collected it. Paarlberg almost hit a man up front. Suarez almost got the footy in the end, could have snapped it, but that was in a different universe. Now goes to the wing, sprinting forward, trying to keep it in. A bit of class about Brad Butler there. Handballs over Toussaint, that was clever. Out of bounds there. That was definitely out of bounds, no doubt about that. You can't be arguing with the umpire there. Wasn't good enough attempt to keep it in there from Adams.
Centre wing will have a throw in. 28-point game. Just under 18 minutes in. Toussaint v Butler in the ruck. interestingly enough. Bacaffa rinsing it out of there. Johnson with a Shepherd. And that's a chipping ball. Maybe front on contact for Oscar Toussaint. Adams hampered. Whistle is inevitable. There it is. It's holding the ball, in fact, going the way of the Sea Eagles.
Yeah, not sure
And
about
even
that.
Oscar Toussaint's a little unsure as to which way that was going. But through the corridor, they can begin discussions, and they do, to the outer side, but he did pull the kick a little to the right. Maybe not his desired target. Bacaffa tried to enforce his will, couldn't successfully. And the Sea Eagles, they venture forward. Trapped by Oxley. Withstands a couple. Now some fancy footwork by the Seagulls. Out to the wing, a one-on-one. McKenna tapped forward. Worked wondrously in the end by the Seagulls. The bounce fooled him. And he'll have to go after it again. Was Johnny Duff in the end. He'll make up for it with a tackle. Just under 20 minutes in, nearly into time on in the last quarter.
So, it's a ball up. We'll get another. And the sting has been taken out of this game. It's Tooradin almost certain to take this. Pushed off the ball. No free kick. Bacaffa was given a little shove. Now Toussaint tries to tap it to his teammates, Vantage and Hewitson, but just wasn't enough on it and went out of bounds. If you're just joining us, Tooradin Dalmore lead Inverloch+Kongwak 9-10-64 to 5-6-36 on your Totally Workwear Pakenham scoreboard.
And around the grounds, Coralin up by 67 against Kilcunderbass. Cooey Rupp lead at Garfield by 76. Corumbarabina trail Bunyip by 63 at home. And Warrigal Industrials defeating Daleston by 81 points.
So, a real heart-stopping weekend of footy. All blowouts, but that's all right.
Still the one game, Phillip Island, Narnagoon. Just trying to get scores for that.
So we'll have another throw in. It's a nice throw in there from the umpire. Had plenty of arc about it. So across half forward, Scanlon didn't have the height on him, was a bit too small. Fakes the handball. That was really clever there from Josh Williams. Gave it off to Scott. And then Oxley, just all that experience was better. Wanted to go Bacaffa in his former Magpie, but instead it was someone else, and now Trezise we paid the mark. It was a good attempt to stop it from Jensen Garnham, but Trezise, who has all but certified his 3 votes today, is able to mark it, kicks inside 50. Wrights, who's been playing in the forward 50 this quarter, slaps it onto the boots. Couldn't get too far in the end. Now Parlberg rushing towards the footy. And they'll just avoid danger here, the Eagles. Hewitson. Oh, they're not out of the woods yet. Will he take his set shot? Stephen Robb. He looks fairly confident in himself. Pivot right wants it. So now Robb, set shot. Didn't take much time. Won't go the distance. Won't have the accuracy either. Suarez tried to tap it to himself. Now Egan looking for another. He's had a couple. So he had 2 or 3. I think he's had 2. Egan.
Yep, kicked the first 2 for Tooradin Dalmore. Hasn't had one since. Still been involved. Still remains lively. Right from the centre. With body use and strength and accuracy. Puts the game beyond doubt for Tooradin Dalmore. A 34-point lead. 10-10-70 to 5-6-36.
He's drafted by the Tigers in 2011. Played that's the Richmond Tigers, by the way. Played a lot of footy for Coburg, their VFL side.
He deserved a goal.
He did. He's been great in the ruck all day. Has pivot right, even against Toussaint, who's most definitely got the height against right. He definitely deserved a major in the position he normally plays at. It's a ball up in the centre square. Tooradin have sealed this one up with 23 minutes into this final term.
Wind is still blaring.
Yep, as always down here in Inverloch, right next to Bass Strait, or very close to it at least. Trezise was courageous, looked up towards the ball, then gives off to McKenna, who's shining in the sunset. Mark wasn't able to be taken, as a couple of guys just taps it around for a little bit. Now they can push forward here, the Eagles. Van Drill! He's hunted down, holding the ball. Van Drill had no idea that Lenders was right behind him. Now Rob in the middle. Suarez over to the wing, and then he plays on. That's Johnny Duff. Tries to kick it out to someone's advantage. Won't take it. Egan, who's been good in the first half today. Scanlon, does he want a final one? Trying to look for number 3 today. Take outright number 1 spot on the goal leaders scoreboard. He's flung around. Casey. Now Toussaint. Sun has really come out. What a beautiful setting we've got here at the moment. To end off a Saturday afternoon of footy. Hewitson. Mark wasn't paid. Whistle blown. And I reckon it was a high free kick going in the way of the Sea Eagles. So off by hands from Hewitson to Casey. And then he hits the man directly on the chest. That was a lovely kick. And he's just going to go back there.
Nearly 25 minutes in. Very far out. Just for a late goal. And it's just missed. Off to the left.
So now Oxley kicks off to his right. Can't be much time left in this one. It's almost done. Duff, who's had a really good last term, he's caught his name a couple times, directs his teammates to go right and then almost tries to centre it. Right versus Eels. No 1-1 on that occasion. Sea Eagles just trying to make the percentage look a bit healthier perhaps. Down by 33 points. 25 and a half in to this fourth quarter. Toussaint knocks it to Casey. Umpire calls my ball. There can't be much longer left in this one. So Wright didn't have the height, but got well above. Almost a good mark taken there. Will there be a free kick paid? No, I thought I might have heard a whistle. My mistake. Now another Toussaint. Oscar. That's going to go out of bounds on the full, or it
Just
might go for a behind. It will go for a behind. And
26 and a half minutes in. 10-10 to 5-8. $32 points the margin for Tooradin Dalmore. And Oxley with the customary right foot, just as the siren sounds in the Battle of the Birds, as we like to call it. It is the Seagulls, too strong for the Sea Eagles. A 32-point margin. Up until halftime, it wasn't the easiest outcome for them. It was an arm wrestle, and out of the gates, 3 goals in 5 minutes in the third quarter, and a strong second half consolidated their lead. A 32-point victory for Tooradin Dalmore. As we will move to our post-game show, Bailey Allen will have to leave us. But just before you do, Baz, who will the votes go to?
So my one vote goes to, who was it? Can't remember. Brady Egan, he kicked 2 in the first half. And then my 2 votes goes to McCaffer. And then my 3 votes went to James Trezise. He was excellent all afternoon. Thanks for having me on, Dill.
Let's just say goodbye to Bailey Allen and to our post-game show. Well, plenty of talking points. Brady Egan to get them off to the hot start, and even for Inverloch+Kongwak, Toby Marnie, who kicked his 200th goal. You thought that he would put some life into the game for Inverloch+Kongwak. Both sides were inaccurate, but that's what the wind will do down here at Inverloch. Stuart Scanlon didn't have a goal until the third quarter, and then he put the finishing touches on with his second in the fourth quarter. Peter Wright was able to kick a goal, but no bags of 3 and above. Multiple goals for Brent McCaffer, Brady Egan and Stuart Scanlon. And in the end, it was all too dominant for Inverloch+Kongwak was the midfield of Tooradin Dalmore, who moved to 14-0. Inverloch+Kongwak 11-3, and we will have to wait for the pending results over at Narnagoon. They'll play Phillip Island, or they are playing Phillip Island. We'll just wait to see if it affects Inverloch's position. Our mark of the day, brought to you by Fused by King G. Not too many contenders as opposed to usual, but we've gone with Toby Marnie, who took a strong mark in the second quarter. And it did result in a goal out of their 5. It was their only of the second quarter by Mitch Hewitson. In fact, it was Toby Marnie again. So he took the mark, and later on down the line he kicked the goal. So he finished off a nice sequence. And our King G Trade Comfort Max goal of the day, we have rewarded Blake Brewer, who lined up from 50 out on the run. He was dictating play earlier, made his way through a couple of defenders, and then launched it from 50 out. And that gave them a 21-point lead. And at half-time, they were only up by 15. And from then, they outscored Inverloch by 4 goals. But that'll do it for us from here. Next week, we will be at Narnagoon. They'll play the Warrigal Industrials, which seems like a great clash on paper, and it's just who will be the better side on the day. But today, Tooradin Dalmore with a 32-point victory over Inverloch+Kongwak. 10-10-70 to 5-8-38. I hope you enjoyed today's match, brought to you by Fairhaven Homes. I'm Dylan Beaumont. Thanks to Harrison Carvis for the camera work. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.